So something super simple is simply like clicking your fingers for before and after. It's so effective and it's so easy to do. You just snap your fingers in front of the product and then snap your fingers again at the end, edit it together, and it looks like it's appeared.
If you're not happy with the sound of a snap, do you ever enhance the sound of a click button as well?
Yeah.
So I think people forget that you can enhance that because the click's there for a purpose. You want people to hear the click.
That is something. Do you remember like all ASMR videos a couple of years ago? 90% of them were sound effects.
Yeah.
They were fake. Unless they were literally in front of a huge microphone and you could visibly see it, they were all fake sound effects.
When I started marketing 10 years ago, I don't even have to have the products. You just create an ad on Facebook, you just put a dog picture and the people still buy it. Like these days, it's ridiculous how hard it is to get someone to actually purchase. This is why there's such a large emphasis on capturing your own content, utilizing UGC. This is why you've created a career for yourself.
Yeah.
Is because it is a difficult angle to create. And I think you've got to, one, be confident in front of cameras because you've got to somewhat believe the product. Because if you can tell, if you half-ass a UGC video, then it comes across in the content as well. It doesn't come believable.
Yeah.
So
people need to trust you. Yeah. So UGC images are when someone is using it. So for example, if I gave the use of like vitamins, if I took a picture of a vitamins bottle with a plain background, that would not count as any type of UGC imagery. You could probably use that on your website. Won't do that well on social media because it's not very engaging. Whereas if I had the vitamins kind of with water in my hand, vitamins on the other side, as if I was about to take it in the morning, sunshine, might be in like, you know, workout gear right before workout, you've got to kind of paint the picture for people. That is a UGC image.
Myself and Issa are going to have a conversation about Instagram, about social media, about influencer marketing, and how it's developed in terms of you utilize influencers more of a promotion and not for content. And I think there's different type of content that is required. It's not essentially now UGC when we first started, obviously marketing, where you probably first started using it as well, is you didn't really have to show your face that much. It was more, I remember a lot of it, you used to record the package at your front door.
Yeah.
Which was so weird.
Literally it arriving and then an unboxing and then you'd be done. Which is really interesting because now it's got so much more complicated. You have to really analyze every single clip that you're doing. And there has to be a bit of a kind of story arc to a UGC. So it's definitely developed. But what I would say is probably most important and what performs best as ads is kind of showing how you're using that product in your day-to-day life as a consumer and how someone who wants to buy it could probably picture themselves using that product.
I think it's the after purchase effect. They want to understand what they're getting and why they're getting it. So they want to show, and again, you want to put two and two together. You want to show the consumer that you can use it in this situation. This is how easy in the situation you can utilize it. Because again, they're scrolling all day long and they don't really see a product. A lot of purchases, especially UGC, you tend to find are impulse buys. So they can be lower ticket items. You can go £100, £200, stuff like that works well. But say garden furniture, you wouldn't really use UGC in garden furniture. It's more of an impulse buy, I would say.
Yeah.
So you've got to have the retention and capture the retention so much more quicker now as well than what it used to be. Like in the past, you used to have a bit more of a slower transition. I think, unfortunately, you look at TikTok and like the attention span of a consumer these days has significantly changed. What was the process of you changing how you learned the content?
I think you have to understand with doing anything in terms of content and social media, you are constantly having to change the game and adapt and learn. So what I had to do while I was filming a lot of UGC is just keep on track of what was working well. And the minute that I noticed something was going down, change strategy. So you're so right in saying that hooks once was probably 8 to 10 seconds at the beginning. Now, if they're not in the first 3 seconds, you've lost your consumers. So it is really, really hard to kind of stay on track and keep changing. But as long as you're noticing and keeping track of like your stats and of other people online on social media, seeing what's working well, seeing what's not, then you'll be fine.
What do you classify photos as? because this is something I always get confused, is because you can have, it builds an element of trust, and you can have a consumer take a photo of the product and they can be in the product. Is that still UGC, or where would you use that in terms of your social media marketing plan?
Yeah, so UGC images are when someone is using it. So for example, if I gave the use of like vitamins, if I took a picture of a vitamins bottle with a plain background, that would not count as any type of UGC imagery. You could probably use that on your website, won't do that well on social media because it's not very engaging. Whereas if I had the vitamins kind of with water in my hand, vitamins on the other side, as if I was about to take it in the morning, sunshine, might be in like, you know, workout gear right before workout, you've got to kind of paint the picture for people. That is a UGC image.
So, but I think people don't use that styling as much as what they should do, because I think you can overcomplicate UGC, and I think people get a bit too concerned about this angle or that angle, and sometimes, as a matter of fact, just take a picture. Like, you'd much rather take a picture of, obviously, like I said, you got to create the scenario, you got to present like you're going to use it or you are about to use it. But then that sometimes works well on content in terms of marketing, because images can work a little bit different than social media sometimes, depending on what products you're trying to sell. So that's something that I'd want members to understand and appreciate, that UGC isn't strictly videos.
Yeah.
But there's still a thought process behind, you can't just take a picture.
Yeah. I think one thing that I find funny is I get a lot of people saying to me, oh, I don't have like clean backgrounds in my house to be able to take the images, or I don't have studio, or I don't have a camera. And I'm like, you don't need any of that. If you're taking a picture of like a 3-in-1 charger on your bedside table and your bedside table is a mess, to me, that tells me, one, it's relatable, but two, problem and solution right there.
Free, clean your bedside table.
No, but I'm thinking, okay, great, before and after picture. I
was going to say, yeah, there's always a solution. So,
yeah.
Again, content, video or images, UGC, a product should offer a solution.
Absolutely.
9 times out of 10. Now, some products don't offer solutions, but the idea of a before and afterwards is massive. And that's obviously what you can do photo-wise, like, is offer a solution. But you've got to you can't just in your head think, oh, that's a solution. You've kind of got to tell them this is a solution and show them how it creates a solution. Exactly.
I think when you're talking about UGC, it sounds kind of funny, but you could almost think of it as how you deliver it to like a child. It needs to be in its simplest form. Like we were saying before, I could probably, a couple of years ago when I first started, talk to the camera and just say, if you take this vitamin, you're going to feel amazing in the morning, and people will believe me. Whereas now I need to think of like how I can actually show that journey.
When I started marketing 10 years ago, I don't even have to have the products. You just create an ad on Facebook, you just put a dog picture and the people still buy it. Like these days, it's ridiculous how hard it is to get someone to actually purchase. This is why there's such a large emphasis on capturing your own content, utilizing UGC. This is why you created a career for yourself.
Yeah.
Is because it is a difficult angle to create. And I think you've got to, one, be confident in front of cameras, because you've got to somewhat believe the product. Because if you can tell, if you half-ass a UGC video, then it comes across in the content as well. It doesn't come believable.
Yeah.
So
people need to trust you.
That's the biggest thing. You've got to have somewhat of a likable personality. And that, you can fake that.
Thanks, that's a compliment.
I'm not saying. Well,
but yeah, you have to be authentic, and people need to be able to see that through the camera. And that's sometimes differences between influencer and UGC, kind of going back to the beginning, because an influencer, you're relying on their followers to buy your product, and they might not necessarily love your product, but they're being paid to post it.
Do you find as well a lot of influencer content is very robotic?
Absolutely.
Very the same. You could probably just replace them with AI. They all stand there, products in hand, and be like, this is my product, I'm going to take this product, and this is why it does it. There's no, you mentioned authenticity a lot of the times, like there's no authenticity in it. It's very robotic, and it's like it's so weird when you read it and watch it. Like it does have an element of trust, but like you mentioned there, the trust is within their audience. So instead of taking that across to paid media, you might as well do a promotion and give a discount.
Yeah, exactly. The influencers already built their trust with their community and their followers for them. So they naturally just believe in the product. Whereas a UGC creator needs to build trust in the product so that other people believe it. if that makes sense. So it's two different styles of advertising, and it's two different ways of looking at it. And I think you can definitely have UGC without influencer work, but I don't think you can have influencer without UGC. I think they definitely work hand in hand.
It depends on what you're trying to achieve. If you want just organic media, you can ask the influencers to do a post for you, and then for a week period, you'll have some results. Because after a week, that post is going to become irrelevant because the consumer of that influencer's market has seen the product. They've either going to purchase it or not purchase it.
Yeah.
It's not going to be an ongoing process. Whereas if you want longevity and you want success that goes beyond a spike, you need UGC. So you need it to make an instant success. I would probably say in the timeline of content, you want UGC is pivotal at the start, and then you can move to influencers.
Yeah, no,
because
completely.
UGC is going to create you a foundation of results. It's going to get you off the ground. It's going to build elements of trust. And then you can have spiky successes, like I said, on maybe even like specific weekends, stuff like that. Say Love Island's coming out, let's go use a Love Island person, because they've still got to be relevant in terms of, are they popular or are they getting engagement?
Yeah.
And also something that I see quite often is that they use the wrong type of influencers. Your brand is very specific. There's no point using Joey Essex for MMA or something like that. For boxing, I might be in boxing. He did a boxing fight, but do you know what I mean? Is a certain clientele. You wouldn't use Joey Essex for an education tool.
Yeah, you can't just look at the number of followers they have.
Yeah, that influence is subjective to their audience.
Absolutely.
And I think sometimes people get carried away and say, "Oh my God, they've got 1 million plus followers. They've posted a picture, but they've not made a sale."
Yeah.
I'm like, well, that's nice because Joey Essex doesn't have any dogs, so why are you posting? Why are you giving him a dog product? His audience hasn't engaged with any pets or dogs. So, like, when you're advising people about influencers and stuff like that, do you give them a selection of ones and say, look, this is what you kind of go for? And do you find sometimes the smaller ones tend to be more of an engagement factor as well? Sometimes celebrity status means you follow someone instead of they don't have the influence on them.
Yeah, mixture of things there. I don't have like a bank of influencers that I go, okay, here you go, work with these people. But what I can do is advise on your brand, on who I'd look for, and then go from there. And then normally I'll say to a member, okay, you want to find someone who's fit in this niche, who does this, who's got this amount of followers, and then they'll maybe send me 5 and I'll tell them the best ones to go for from my kind of own opinion. And you're right, there are influencers, there are micro influencers, and now there are nano influencers.
Well, how's a nano influencer?
A nano influencer is someone under 10k. And a lot of people think, okay, what's the point?
10k is massive.
Well, under 10k, some people think that's not a big deal. But if you have 8,000 people who absolutely love running and you are selling a running vest, whereas you're targeting maybe with a micro influencer who has 20,000 followers, a running vest, but maybe that's just fitness in general, maybe it's about going to the gym, then those 8,000 people are more likely to convert and buy than the micro influencer. So you have to really dive into it and actually look at their followers, look at their engagement, look at previous posts, things like that. So it is really interesting, but I'd never just judge on numbers because you never know.
Well, you got to analyse the information as well. The numbers that you can see on a profile is essentially the followings. You also want to understand the like ratio, the comments, how engaging they are,
their location.
And also, we once worked with Katie Price, and awful to work with. And what she was, if you looked at her story, she did a story post for one of the brands that I worked with, but 5 before it and 5 afterwards was all the same. She was selling something. So although she might have got some eyes and views and stuff like that, but she was selling, and then yours, they're selling.
Yeah.
By the time, if they're just having the social media as a sale platform, you're probably not going to get that much engagement, no matter what numbers they provide you with, because their audience is, if you're not first in that story, they're probably not going to watch it. Because by the time the 5th post has come round and she's trying to sell you a different product, like, you also have to be mindful that some try just making money.
Yeah. That's all about exclusivity though. And that is why I don't recommend people doing influencer paid ads at the beginning, because there are so many different loopholes and things in a contract when you work with an influencer that if you don't know about it, you're going to get caught out and you're going to end up being charged a lot of money. So if you say, like with Katie Price, if you wanted exclusivity with her, which means normally that they can't post 24 hours before and after, that's going to cost you a lot if she is just selling, because she's going to stick loads on that and think, I'm going to miss out on money. So there are a lot of things with influencers that people don't realize. Same with creators though. With UGC creators, there's exclusivity rights where people will charge you extra for ads if you're using their UGC videos like ongoing for ads rather than just organic. So there are a lot of things that you need to educate yourself around with UGC creators and influencers before you start working with them.
No, 100%. And you mentioned there obviously ads, paid media and organic media. Is there, I know, but just generally for obviously in the conversation, is there a difference between what you would put on organic and paid media? Because the length of, although you've now got to be quite sharp and snappy even with organic media, in paid media you even have a shorter time frame.
Yeah, paid media is where you're going to have the shortest video that you can do. You want it to be very short, snappy, but when I say that, I mean new clip or angle every second, which is very, very fast. And that does take some time to kind of like learn and adjust on how to do, because you also don't want the video to be super jumpy and people to not know what's going on. So that just comes really down to practice. And then for organic videos, you can have longer where it's a bit more of a storytelling style video and people can relate to it a little bit more. But at the same time, you need to make sure you're still gaining the retention of the people following.
100%. And with that, is there any transitions you would avoid? When you say don't jump around and stuff like that, there's more transitions that are slightly smoother. I mean, you can use some that are more harsh if you wanted to have and again, speaking on how to do transitions, they are just as important as the actual video content you're doing. That the editing side, and this is something that I recently learned, is the editing side of content probably has more of a value sometimes than the actual video, because you can create a sense of feeling in terms of the transition you're making. So one might be a bit more of a harsh one and a more sharp one if you want to get more of a point across. So for that, what was the process of education of that? Because like I said, that's the one thing that I'm trying to understand and learn more about. Like, is you can film a video and you can change the feeling of the video several times through just editing. Yeah,
absolutely. I think that is through learning different styles. And what I just enjoyed to do kind of back when I started is just learning all of these different kind of camera tricks, which is fun. And there are so many tutorials online, like teaching you how to do all those things. But with a video, I can change kind of like the whole vibe of a video just through the music as well. So with the transitions, like you say, if they're harsh, then you're going to go for something that's a bit more like quick paced, sharp, snappy. If you're in the gym, that would be something a bit more like kind of upbeat. Whereas if you're doing something that's a bit more relaxing, like an LED mask, for example, you're going to put some calming music. It's going to have more smoother transitions because it's a bit more of a relaxing style evening routine, maybe.
It's crazy as well, though. Look, you probably have every time you do a video or a snippet in a video, video's 15 seconds long, 20 seconds long, but every clip in it is like 2 seconds long. And the feeling that you might use 7 to 9 videos in both the gym and the smooth and the calming video. You're still using the same amount of videos, but the transition feels smoother in terms of like the more noticeable in the gym because it's more harsh than when you're at the calming and you're laid down in obviously the smooth in the bed. It's a bit more of a easy going.
Yeah,
it's crazy how like the editing side of it increases the feeling of the actual video as well.
Yeah, definitely. And can I just say as well, just so members understand, when we say transitions, it's not like the transitions you get when you're on CapCut and they're just kind of like, I don't know, swirls or
swiping right.
Yeah, the swiping and all those. That's not what I mean. It's all kind of tricks with the camera that you can play with. So something super simple is simply like clicking your fingers for before and after. It's so effective and it's so easy to do. You just snap your fingers in front of the product and then snap your fingers again at the end, edit it together, and it looks like it's appeared.
If you're not happy with the sound of a snap, do you ever enhance the sound of a click button as well?
Yeah.
So I think people forget that you can enhance that because the click's there for a purpose. You want people to hear the click.
That is something. Do you remember like all ASMR videos a couple of years ago? 90% of them were sound effects. Yeah. They were fake. Unless they were literally in front of a huge microphone and you could visibly see it, they were all fake sound effects. So I use that all the time because otherwise you can get a lot of like background static noise, and it just kind of, again, it's like other elements of the video that you're bringing alive. So if I'm again, I know we keep using the gym example, but if I'm in the gym,
what gym you?
and I'm putting a weight down, I want it to make that noise. I want it to, or like if I'm running, I want people to hear kind of your feet stomping on the ground, because again, it just elevates what's going on around
It's
you.
a feeling, isn't it? You've got several senses in terms of, what is it, sight, taste, hear, touch, or whatever it is. And you've got to try and, like, however you got someone to feel something, sound is a massive factor of it.
Yeah.
So if you can clearly demonstrate, and this is why even not just UGC or in our industry, in movie industries, people get paid specifically to enhance the sound, like, and create the after effect feeling, because they need that to pop. They need to understand, because the sound is such an important factor of it. Like I said, that's why ASMR was so popular, is because that sense of sound triggers something, and it feels comfort, and it gives you feeling. Sound gives you feeling, essentially, and all you want to achieve from UGC is feeling. Yeah. And if you had muffled sounds over that, then it's like, oh, it's a bit naff.
The longest process for me when doing a UGC video is the editing. The actual taking the content is the fastest part of the whole process. It's storyboarding at the beginning and trying to put that story together, like we've been saying, the beginning, middle and end, making sure it's captivating. And I will literally write down every single clip I need to take. And then taking the clips, that's, as long as I've got good lighting, I can do that quite quick.
I was going to mention about that, the lighting side of things.
That's really important.
Again, vision is a feeling. When we go back to, you got the two that you can play on is sound and vision. If visually wise is a bit, you know, you're going to score off. If the sound's a bit naff, you're going to scroll off. Like, you've got to understand how to create a sense of feeling in UGC, and how to create a sense of feeling in anything. Like, if we were to take it into paid media, you'd have then the addition of text, so that you put an emphasis. You can't just write a paragraph with no emotion in it. You can obviously convert that into bullet points. So obviously that's why on videos you do the green ticks. There's no point having a full list of just words. Yeah. You can do green ticks to demonstrate the bullet points. In same as you're using that in the text for the creatives. You need to have a bit more of an emotion, because even like an emoji, it breaks it up and gives a sense of feeling. Yeah. You can have emojis will give you, and it's mad that all you do in anything you do in life, you put an exclamation mark on the end of a sentence, it goes from talking to shouting. Yeah. And that's how easy a mind you're manipulating the consumer by using an exclamation mark. Yeah. Like, and that's, like I said, you're not, I don't want to say manipulating the person in terms of buying it, but you're using what you can to influence them to believe that this is what they should be buying. Yeah, it's all psychological. Everything's psychological, and like I said, there's so many tools to try and utilize the psychology of it, but it's understanding the psychology of it. You got to break it down. Like with the colors, like you're talking about, the green tick. It's green for a reason. You don't have a blue tick because people wouldn't understand that. It's green because people think, you know, green. Green's good. Yeah, exactly. Look at TripAdvisor, green stars. Well, actually, yeah, whenever people do gold and stars, I'm like, right, you got two colors you can do. You can do gold, or you can mirror the TripAdvisor green. Yeah. Because instantly, if you see that, you feel trusted. Builds an element of trust. Like I said, you do blue, royal blue, or whatever it is. That's a bit more of an elegance and a sophisticated number. You do red, it's a bit more of an anger. Like it's mental, like how psychology works in marketing. But I think people just see the fact that they put something live, it looks good, it should make sales. Yeah. When sometimes the ones that look the worst will make you the most sales. It's not what looks good, it's what's going to perform. Yeah, exactly. And you need to analyze all these points before you actually post the video online, personally. And it takes a while to learn, and you'll do some and you'll realize, okay, I made the mistake on that one, I got to make the new one different. So there is a little bit of trial and error as well. And I guess that's the same with ads as well, because sometimes you can do all of these right things and it still won't perform. But that might just be because of your product, or like who the audience you're targeting. Like you might be creating a video more for females when you should be creating it for males. There's that to consider as well. So there are a lot of things that you need to look into before just taking your camera out. You say trial and error. There's never a wrong thing. It's only wrong when you don't do it. When you're consistent, you need the ability to post. the first step of getting anything successful is by doing it.
Yeah.
You've got to push, you've got to be wrong to then be right.
Yeah.
And I think you can, we discussed, me and Josh discussed yesterday, is archiving stuff is still allowed to do.
Yeah.
Like, you can archive your content. It's not going to be an issue, stuff like that. Like, but you've got to put it out there. And even if you don't make sales from it, you've made data. If you don't get engagement, you've got data.
Yeah, true.
It's understanding the analytical approach of whatever you do, there's going to be data coming from it.
And
There's
people
going to be,
shouldn't ignore that data.
that's what I'm saying. The data drive, like I said, you need to understand that your audience isn't who you want it to be. Your audience is dictated by data. And it's how you approach that data to then make yourself better and improve the results.
Yeah. I think we've kind of talked about the whole process of a UGC video there.
Hopefully, the guys have enjoyed it, and obviously they understand a bit more about, first and foremost, just do it.
Yeah.
Secondly, the UGC is different in terms of influencer content is different to UGC. You can take there's a thought process about it. It's not just taking a picture. You need to create a scenario and environment.
Yeah.
And vision and sound is a must.
Yeah.
You can't have poor lighting. You can't have poor. You look, your phones. If you've got an iPhone, you've got a good enough camera on it.
Yeah. Just clean your camera beforehand, please.
Clean your
101.
But, and then, like I said, it's not just about putting the video live and then editing it. Think about the sound overlay. What effects are you trying to use? The sound, like I said, there's so many different additives in terms of the sounds that you can add on. If you want a sound to be played, if you want a finger click, if you want to drop the weight and so you want to run in, it's going to be there.
Yeah.
You won't have to go out physically put a mic on your feet and run.
No,
The
think
sound's
of it
already
as
there.
layers. You just like, once you take the video, you're just adding a different layer to it every single time.